When we moved into our new house, it came with this little wood burner, and unfortunately it's in pretty bad condition. I did a few temporary repairs, sort of emergency repairs like this one on the flue pipe, just to get us through the winter, but now it's time to fix the thing properly. So the first job was to get it out and get it up to the workshop. The old flue pipe came out very easily, and then I could just slide it out. It's in 3 pieces, and this is the top here coming off, and then the base and the centre section I'm taking out now are actually bolted together, but that's all seized up and needs fixing. So a quick clean out before I take it into the workshop, just get the worst out. And into the workshop, so here's the base and the middle section, and there's a little cover here that covers the ash box. The ash box is completely rotten. When we came to it, this was actually full of water and it was overflowing onto the living room floor from where the water had come down the chimney. So there's the top, and there's an access panel there where you put the logs in, and a vent on the front for controlling how much air goes in. So the flue damper sits in here, and this controls how much draw the chimney has, and I need to make a new piece to fit the flue onto the top of the log burner, as there was a ring here that's completely rusted away. So the first job was to get all of the rust off and give the good bits a general clean up, get all the dirt out. So angle grinder with a wire wheel, and then where the middle section bolts to the base was all the bolts were all seized up and corroded, so cut those off with a grinder and then get in with a chisel to kind of pry it apart. A little wiggle and that comes apart. So here's the base, and here's the middle section. You can see just on the right hand side where one of the studs has broken through and the casting's broken. So I could drill the old studs out, or the old bolts out, and there's that broken section on the left hand side there. And then in the base where the bottoms of the studs were, they needed to be drilled out, and then I could retap them. They're M8 or 8mm metric. So that's those recut. And then here's the middle section, and then on the right hand side there where the slightly shiny metal is that's been ground away is where I'm going to build that area back up with some silicon bronze. First time I've used silicon bronze. Turns out it's really hard and doesn't like to be drilled, and that was a diamond drill bit that just broke. So in the end, rather than drilling a hole for a new bolt, I ended up cutting a slot through the built up area. So here's the adapter for the flue pipe. So take that off the old flue. I ended up just replacing the old section of flue that you can see there. It's all rusted away. And then I could grind away at the back of the log burner, clean that up, ready for a new ring. So that's where the flue pipe adapter will sit. To make a new ring to adapt that, I got some 5mm thick stainless flat bar, and I'm using the ring roller that I made in a previous video. You have to bend the ends first, and you end up with this little flat bit that you have to cut off. So I'm just checking that I've got the end bent correctly, and then you can cut the flat off, and then you have to do the other end, and then little bit at a time, just roll it back and forwards to get a nice continuous bend in there. And again, you end up with a flat on the end there. Now, just to check that I've got my maths right, I'm just rolling the flue pipe adapter along to check that I'm going to cut it to the right length. Put a little mark on there and then cut that off. So once it's cut to length and you've got the two ends bent, you can put it back in the roller and then roll it into a full circle. I'm using the TIG welder here to just put a tack on each end, and then I can run a weld all the way along. I didn't bother back purging it, I just put a weld along both sides, and that gets that sealed up. So the flue damper will sit in this groove here, and I need to cut the same groove into this ring so that all sits down inside. So drill the hole first, and then I could cut that and make a slot with the angle grinder. Did the same on the other side of the ring to give me 2 slots, and then I brazed that on to the top of the cast iron stove with the silicon bronze again. First time really using it, wasn't the prettiest, so I ground it all off and made it all flush and make it look like part of the original casting. Now the adapter ring had got a little bit of damage, so just gave that a quick clean up with a bodywork hammer just to get the edges all smoothed out, and then cleaned up the flue damper as well just to make sure that was a nice fit, and then the flue adapter fits in nicely and the flue damper can move. Coat of paint on the cast iron parts. Kate came up and gave me a hand with that, and while she was doing that I set about making a new ash box. This one's, as you can see, not fit for purpose, so I found a bit of, I think it was 16 gauge 1.6mm mild steel, and then I got given this sheet metal folder recently, so this is an ideal job to give that a try. It's a box and pan folder, so you can actually fold up boxes with it and do the sides. I haven't quite got all the right tooling for that at the moment, so I've just bent up the one direction and then cut some ends, and then I can TIG weld those on. So just tack them on and then run a weld along the outside corners to seal it all up. I always seem to struggle with outside corners, but I'm really pleased with how this one turned up. I'm just pulsing with the foot pedal, and I'm not actually using the filler rod, it's just sort of there just in case, and then I think I put a tiny little bit in right on the end on the last bit of the corner, and here's what it looks like, all nicely welded up. Very, very happy with how that turned out. It's yeah, very, very nice. Then I could drill the hole in the front for lifting it in and out. There's a little tool for doing that comes with the stove. Then put it all back together. I've got some fire cement to seal up all the joints, stop too much air getting drawn in at the bottom. And then the middle section sits on there, and then there's some screws go into the holes that I tapped earlier to hold the bottom onto the base, hold the middle onto the base, and then scrape away the excess fire cement just to make a nice clean joint. And then the top goes into the middle, and again just packing that joint with some fire cement and scraping off the excess with the butter knife, because it works quite well. And then a little bit of water on the butter knife just to smooth off the top of the fire cement, just a tiny bit. I don't want to get too much water in it because it dries with the heat, and too much moisture in there, it'll all start evaporating and damaging the fire cement. So there's the flue adapter and the valve, the flue valve, and then again just scrape away the squeeze out, nice sealed joint. And this stove's quite nice, it's got removable hot plates so you can cook on the top of it, and we have done quite a few times since this video's been made. It's worked really well. And there's the ash box going in, and that's the little tool, and the cover that covers that over. And you can just see the new flue pipe in the top of the shot as well. So the paint that was used is a high temperature paint, so you've got to cure that, and you do that by just making a small fire. If I'd have been thinking about it, I'd have done it outside because it smokes quite a bit. But here we are, it's all lit and all done and back in service. Hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.